And in the news this morning, the National Union of Ghana Students, NUGS, says it's unhappy with what it refers to as a blatant disregard of the recently approved 15% maximum increment in university fees for 2022-2023 academic year by some public tertiary institutions. The students claim that some of these institutions have hiked tuition above the approved threshold. They claimed that some universities have raised tuition by as much as 100%. News says this move is illegal and insensitive. Addressing a news conference, President Bernice called on well-meaning Ghanaians to press on school authorities to reverse what they describe as an illegality.
On behalf of our colleagues receiving education in various public tertiary institutions who are faced with the harsh realities of an insensitive system, the University of Ghana has increased the academic facility user fee for some departments well over 40%. And to make matters worse, has increased residential facility user fee to about 70%. In some situations, 100%. Right here at the medical school, University of Ghana has increased residential facility user fee up to 100%. I am referring to Professor Nana Abba Amphos University of Ghana, which is leading the illegalities. We have nothing against anybody, but the students of Ghana must be protected. Dear Professor Mrs. Rita Akosua-Dixon, our attention has been brought to the how to believe fees increment of over 90% in AFUF and 100% in RFEUF in your institution. This is not only hard to believe, but very worrying to be coming from the university like Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. This is directly to Professor Rita Dixon. Madam Professor, you have no right to charge students in excess of the 15%. This we must say, and we must say truth to power. UCC is also deeply involved with some increments crossing 25%. As we speak, UCC Faculty of Social Science has increased its fees at a rate of 27%. UMAT is also doing the same with increment as high as 40%. 5. The University of Education, the school for my Secretary of Education, is also doing the same by charging first years in an increment of up to 40%. Whilst we await the release for continuing students, it is unfortunate to note that graduate fees in some instances goes up to 40%. And I will make a specific example with the MPhil for special education being raised up to 40%.
Away from that, construction of the National Cathedral will continue despite Parliament rejecting the 80 million budgetary allocation. Parliament about a week ago disapproved that amount allocated for the project after Finance Minister failed to account for it. Reverend Joyce I, who is on the Board of Trustees, in an interview with Joy News disclosed the said amount is only a fraction of what's needed for the construction.
I think we need to explain that what Parliament did not approve of was only part of the seed money that government said it would give year by year. Part of the seed money, not the money, entire money that is needed to construct and complete the edifice. Somebody was saying that the bill, I said, no, it's not a bill. It's not a bill that has been rejected. You know, people have said that there has not been transparency. But every year in the budget, there has been some seed money. Not taken, from what I understand, from the consolidated fund. But I hear there's something called consolidated vote, which means there's a vote that is given. I don't know how it's used, but so that was going to be the seed money. But it does not mean that the project cannot go on. Because I know you are going to bring your 100 CDs. I'm going to give my 100 CDs. Everybody that we will approach, those who are willing, really those who are willing are the people making the money available for the construction. I think we should all just keep calm and not be disturbed. don't let's be disturbed. Parliament has every right not to accept what a budget brings. In fact, after the budget has been brought, every ministry has to go and speak to the specific committee in Parliament so that what they have budgeted for will be approved. So that is exactly what happened. So we went through our ministry and ours didn't get accepted.
Some more stories here on the AM News. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Kojo Alan Tremantin, has commissioned the Savelugu Rice Processing Factory. The rice factory, under the 1D1F Common User Facility, is a farmer-owned agro-industrial processing facility established with seed funding from the Ministry of Trade and Industry under the Rural Enterprise Program. The Savelugu Rice Processing Factory, which has the state-of-the-art processing equipment, has the capacity to produce between 1.5 to 28 tons of processed rice per hour. The minister also commissioned the Savelugu Technology Solution Center.
The Savelugu Rice Processing Factory, which was started in January 2020, was completed in July 2021. The rice factory is one of 5 built across the country. Speaking at a ceremony to commission the factory, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Alan Tremantin, said the factory will open up more business opportunities in the area.
This commissioning will also enhance industrial production in this community, because from processing of rice, you can produce so many other products. Some for the poultry industry, you can even produce beer and alcohol and other beverages from the processing of rice. Number 5, this is a perfect example of community ownership of business, because this factory is owned by almost 730 farmers. 70% is owned by 730 farmers.
The Northern Regional Minister, Shani Alhassan Shaibu, said the commissioning of the 2 projects will be a catalyst to bring development to the people of the Northern region.
Commissioning of these 2 great projects will be a catalyst to bring development to the people of the Northern region, and for that matter, to be very specific, the Savelugu municipality. Quite significantly, the facilities of direct relationship with agriculture, which is the mainstay of the region.
The Executive Director of Rural Enterprise Project, Isi Atta, on his part said the strategic position of Savelugu made it possible for the Ministry of Trade and Industry to establish these factories.
That it is very, very rare for one district to benefit from both the common user facility and the technology solutions center, as we have witnessed here. Of course, due to strategic position of the Savelugu Municipal Assembly and the Ministry of Trade and Industry direction in the industrialization policy agenda, the municipality boasts of these 2 facilities, which are incidentally located side by side.
Now, a 2021 Global Teacher Prize top 10 finalist and mathematics tutor at the Achimota School, Evans O'Day, is calling on teachers to acquire 21st century teaching skills to be relevant in that sector. The celebrated Ghanaian tutor, who was speaking in Techiman at the 2022 National Conference for EduSports Project Leaders, noted teachers of today must be critical thinkers, analytical, IT experts, and adopt listening skills to be able to teach the current generation effectively and prepare them adequately for the future. Anasabit has more.
In an era when quality education is a concern for education-focused international organizations and dominates national debates, teacher quality must equally be a priority, and Ghanaian teachers are being encouraged to change their style of teaching to be able to prepare their students for the future. Speaking at the 2022 National Conference for EduSports Project Leaders held in Techiman, guest of honor and top 10 finalists for the 2022 Global Teacher Prize Awards, Evans Odey, encouraged teachers to switch to the 21st century teaching model.
The world is changing. We are in the 21st century, and students don't learn the way we used to learn when we were in primary school and junior high school. And so we as teachers need to change our strategy of teaching. And so we are in the world whereby students must have more control over whatever they learn. They should talk about it, they should write about it, they should dramatize it, they should be able to express themselves, collaborate, communicate, develop problem-solving skills. In fact, critical thinking. That is the era that we are in now. And so Ghana as a nation, we need to change from the system of a teacher always teaching and letting students keep quiet and fold their arms and listen. No. If you go by that, then it means you are going to lag behind.
The conference, according to EduSports Head of Operations Mohammed Ukasha, is to provide a platform for EduSports project leaders to share their ideas and experiences to enhance their various volunteering skills.
This is our national conference, one of the approaches that EduSports has adopted in order for its volunteers to come together to learn and share ideas that will contribute to creating the desired change for their communities.
For these young volunteers, some of whom are participating in EduSports national conferences for the first time, the platform would go a long way to help improve their teaching skills.
This is my first conference, and frankly, I've enjoyed every bit of it. Yesterday, we learned about communication strategies. We learned about child safeguarding and protection. We learned a lot about classroom activities and then the different types of pedagogies you can use in your classroom to help your students understand whatever you are teaching. So it has really been helpful. And then when I go back, I pray and very confident that these things would be inculcated into my teaching and learning activities.
This conference is basically to empower volunteers or volunteers to come together to share ideas to really change back into their communities. So coming here, we've learned how, especially me, I'm new, so I've learned so many ways of working with EduSports or ways of working in EduSports. That's when we go back, or when I go back, and I'm sure it's a big task ahead that hopefully, by God's grace, it will be completed.
Some of these participants, who are teachers, lauded the organizers of the conference and called for an increased supervision to help improve the general performances of Ghanaian students. Janet Osuakakari is an English tutor at the Sakasaka Junior High School.
If I have the power to change something or do something, I'll talk about the monitoring. Because no matter the new curriculum, no matter the training that the teacher goes through, if the monitoring aspect is not good, then you come back to zero. So the head teacher who is there must be monitored, and the head teacher has to monitor the teachers.
We're told that in this era, classrooms are for students. So you have to adopt that student-centered learning, where we no longer tell students to keep quiet and listen to us. We no longer tell students to copy notes from the board whilst we write. We rather engage them in discussions. We try to hear from them, from what they know to unknown. So this conference has taught us a lot of strategies to involve our students.
The annual conference, organized by EduSports, a UK and Ghanaian registered NGO, works to connect, train and equip over 250 local leaders to drive community-led change through education spaces named sports. Anas Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
Still on education, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, has justified its decision to restrict admissions to colleges of education for the 2022-2023 academic year. The commission threatened to withhold feeding grants and teacher training allowances to colleges of education if they admit students beyond the quota set for them. Executive Director of Africa Education Watch, Kofi Asare, says government is evading the real challenges the colleges have to contend with. He wants it to channel money for allowances into addressing these challenges, which include infrastructure.
I think this was expected. It wasn't possible for government to sustain the payment of teacher training allowances. As it wasn't possible in the past, so shall it be today and in the future. We indicated to government that spending 240 million in feeding adult learners who are tertiary students was wasteful expenditure. The government went ahead, and then now we are seeing government struggling to finance the payment of the allowance. Let me indicate that the statement that the Teacher Training Association has released is just a political response, to a serious educational issue. I don't think they want Ghanaians to believe that the quota was imposed because colleges of education were choked. I mean, it's very, very laughable to assume that one would expect Ghanaians to believe that the quotas have been imposed because the schools are choked. That is not the reason. Government has never admitted that any college of education is choked. And I believe that the principals of the colleges, in their wisdom, will never admit students when the schools are choked. So
now, Vice Principal for Bagabaga College of Education, Emmanuel Al-Hassan, tells Shaw News there's massive infrastructural deficit in his school and many other colleges of education.
Actually, the project was supposed to have been completed in 2012, and that would have boosted the enrollment of females in the college. But because of this situation, we are forced to limit the number of ladies that we can admit. And this is something that we have strived to solve, but it is not something that is easy. It's a worry to us, and we have gone every length and breadth to see how the contractor could come back to site. All certificates that he has prepared and submitted to get funds for payment, I think they have been honored, but we are not seeing any progress of work on it.
John News checks reveal that a similar situation exists in many other colleges of education. Well, the GTEC says that this decision is rational and pragmatic.
We also have to look at the number of teachers that we need to produce for the campus. So it's also from a quality perspective. We want to make sure that the classrooms are not overcrowded and that students are being given quality teaching. In the past, when reference was made to some quota system, I'm sure you may have had access to what Professor Yanka, who was Minister of State at the time, said. He said we do not operate with a quota system. The only constraint to the numbers at that time was the physical space for having the students on campus, classroom, hostels, and the like. And then also being mindful of the quality. So it's still the same thing. So there hasn't been quality. When I hear people say reintroduction of quota system, it seems to be suggestive of a certain fixed mindset that prevailed at a certain point, which is being no. We're just being rational and pragmatic. Physical space as how many can be.
Away from education, Dodi World is Ghana's first destination experience offering a unique package of adventure, entertainment, history and education on the beautiful banks of the Volta River in Akosombo. It also provides a fantastic view of the lake, dam and adjoining mountain slope. Today, Mapito CBD and I take you on a cruise on the Dodi Princess to Dodi Island, an 84-hectare island located 5 kilometers off the shore of Lake Volta.
Welcome to Dodi World. Go through the registration process and then onto the boat.
After registration, we received a security briefing, went through security checks, and on board we went. Guests were treated to live band music. Once on board, you see the Akosombo Dam and the Tema Akosombo Rail project, which was ongoing during our trip. We arrived on the island after 2.5 hours of cruising.
Okay. We're here. Welcome to Dodi Island.
Man, you have to do it like this. Residents welcomed us to Great Bobobo. Maps and I tried dancing along, but Maps couldn't keep up when we had to bend down really low.
Maps, go! We are just waiting for our turn in the queue. What do you call this?
Pedal boat.
Pedal boat.
Yeah.
So I won't use the pedal.
Yeah.
You do it alone.
You know what?
Because I believe in the power of your legs.
I believe in my personal trainer.
You're taking us there, right?
It's very tiring.
You're doing all the hard work.
And as a princess, I'm not supposed to be doing all this hard work.
And in our earlier briefing, we said you are to expect 3 activities here. That is the pedal boat, the water sports activities that you just did, and then the horse riding, camel riding, and then the hiking.
Yeah.
That's another route to the place. So some of the guests will use it and to come here.
Okay.
So these are the 3 activities to expect here. We are still improving. Currently, this is what we have.
And what you forgot to mention is that all of these 3 activities are inclusive.
Into the cost.
Yeah.
So
after 40 minutes on the island, it was time to go home. The cruise back was relaxing. We were treated to more live band music, a movie, great food, free Wi-Fi, board games, and PS4 for the football lovers. That was to signal our arrival in Akosombo. We interacted with some tourists.
My highlight was the band.
It's a good experience. I encourage everybody to go to the Dodi island and experience what we experienced. Ghana can be one of the biggest tourist destinations in West Africa. There is a potential, but we need to unlock the challenges which we are having.
And it?
Goed, dank je.
Okay. The cruise, how was it?
The boat cruise is nice. The people are friendly. The food is good.
I love everything. I love the animals.
The experience doesn't end without picking a souvenir from Nana Sewe's stand. She's got different varieties of beads, wall hangings, artifacts, and musical instruments.
We call it Koshka. And we have xylophone.
Okay.
You see, this one is from the northern part. So when you come to Dodi World, you can get so many things, especially those coming from outside to spend the Christmas. Yes. So everybody is welcome. Dodi World, you can have fun, you drink, you eat, you dance. So everybody should come at least to come and have fun. We have only one life to live, so you have to enjoy yourself.
It was an exciting experience for us, and we'll have to do it all over again. Mapita CBD and Bernice Abu-Baidoo Lansah for Joy News. And that's how we end this edition of the AM News. We'll be back with our news review. Do stay.